The boy who wrote letters to no one. Oliver was 11 years old, and he had a problem. He had too many thoughts. Not bad thoughts, just big ones. The kind that didn't fit inside his head for very long before they needed somewhere else to go. So he wrote them down. Every evening after dinner, Oliver sat at a small wooden desk in his room. He took out a piece of paper. He picked up his pen and he wrote a letter. Not to his grandmother, not to a friend from school, not to anyone he knew. He wrote to no one. Dear no one, he always began. Today I saw something strange. Or, dear no one, I have a question that nobody answered today. Or simply, dear no one, I don't know how to say this, but I'll try. He wrote about a spider he found in the bathroom and felt too guilty to remove. He wrote about a cloud he saw that looked exactly like a sleeping elephant. He wrote about the way his teacher said remarkable, as if it was the most beautiful word in any language. When he finished, he folded the letter carefully. He walked to the end of his garden and he placed it inside the hollow of the old oak tree that stood by the wall. Then he went to bed. In the morning, the letter was always gone. Oliver had noticed this on the very first day. He told himself it was the wind, or an animal, or perhaps he had imagined leaving it there at all. But then, one Tuesday in October, something was different. He reached into the hollow of the oak tree and found something inside. A letter, small, folded in three, written on pale green paper in very neat handwriting. Oliver's hands were shaking a little as he opened it. Dear Oliver, it said, the spider was not afraid of you. She was just curious. That is not such a bad thing to be. He read it 3 times. Then he put it in his coat pocket and walked to school. After that, it happened often. Not every time. Sometimes the hollow was empty, but other times there was a reply. Always on pale green paper. Always in the same neat handwriting. When Oliver wrote about feeling invisible at school, the reply said, some people are like lighthouses. They don't shout, they just shine. Others find them when they need to. When he wrote about his grandfather, who had died the previous spring, the reply said, the people we love don't disappear. They become part of the way we see things. Look for him in small moments, you'll find him there. When he wrote that he sometimes felt like he didn't belong anywhere, the reply said, belonging is not a place. It is a feeling you build slowly, like a nest. You are already building it. You just haven't noticed yet. Oliver didn't know who was writing back. He had looked carefully and quietly many times. He never saw anyone near the tree. He asked his mother once, carefully without explaining too much if she had ever seen anyone in the garden at night. She said no. Then she looked at him in that soft way she sometimes did and asked if everything was all right. He said yes, and he meant it. One afternoon in spring, Oliver came home from school feeling heavy. He had tried to explain something important to his best friend, Jed, and Jed had laughed, not meanly, but in the way people do when they don't understand and don't know what else to do. Oliver sat down at his desk. He wrote the letter. He walked to the tree, but this time he waited. He stood behind the garden shed, very still, and he watched. For a long time, nothing happened. A bird landed on the wall. The light changed. Oliver's feet got cold. Then he heard a small sound. He looked. Sitting inside the hollow of the oak tree was a cat. Very old, it seemed, with gray fur and calm yellow eyes. It was reading his letter. Oliver blinked. Cats did not read letters. He knew this. But this one did. The cat looked up. It saw Oliver. It did not run. It simply looked at him for a long moment, the way very old, very wise creatures sometimes do, as if they are deciding whether you are ready for something. Then it placed the letter gently back inside the hollow, turned, and walked slowly along the top of the wall until it disappeared. Oliver walked to the tree. He looked inside. His letter was there, and beneath it, already waiting, was a piece of pale green paper. Dear Oliver, it said, Jed didn't laugh at you. He laughed because he didn't have the words. That's different. Give him time. People grow at different speeds. So do friendships. Oliver folded the letter and held it for a moment. Then he smiled. He never told anyone about the cat or the letters. It felt something that belonged only to him. A quiet, private thing, like the last page of a good book. But he kept writing. Every evening, his big thoughts and small questions and everything in between. And sometimes, on pale green paper, in very neat handwriting, the answers came. He didn't need to understand it. It was enough that it was real. Now it's time to rest. If you have big thoughts tonight, thoughts that don't quite fit, try to let them go gently, one by one. They don't need answers right now, because right now, all you need is sleep. Good night.